All right, everybody. I want to show you what I built. Okay. I built something really cool and I'm really proud of it. And this is for my own use, right? But it's using AI. So I want you to expand your perspective to think about how you can do something like this for your own business, right? One of the best ways to generate leads for a business, is to understand the problem that your ideal client has. In this case, it's lost bookings, lost calls, missed calls, not handling calls properly that's causing them 5,000 or five figures a month in lost revenue that they don't even see yet. And so one of the best ways to generate leads is to actually show somebody what they're losing and what the problem is and how big the actual problem is, so that they can understand it better themselves, which then gets them to just naturally want to move forward and fix the problem, right? It gets them to the point of being problem aware. And most HVAC company owners don't have any idea how much money they're losing by missing phone calls and by not handling the calls the right way. And so I built a revenue loss calculator for HVAC companies that uses industry standard data to build a calculator here to show an HVAC company just how much money they're losing by not having their calls handled properly. So I'm going to walk through kind of what I would present to somebody because I'm going to use this as a presentation. So I want you to also open your mind up to thinking about how to use AI to build tools that let you present information better. Okay. This is key here because what I'm doing in this calculator is I built it in a way that helps me to progress somebody who's an HVAC company owner from the point where they don't understand how much money they're losing to knowing exactly where they are and where they could be. And I give them a story to follow in and see the actual change in the numbers when we make specific small changes to their process, to their funnel, to capture more of those calls and to handle those calls better to increase their booking rate. So that's what I'm going to go through here in this video and just show you what I built here. So this is a revenue loss calculator. And the idea here is that most HVAC companies are missing a lot of calls. The industry standard is that after hours calls account for 40% of the total call volume of an HVAC company, right? And so let's take an HVAC company that's a moderate size. Say they're doing 1,000 calls per month total. That means that 400 calls are coming in after hours, okay? Now, if 400 calls are coming in after hours, let's break it down to what they're actually doing as far as how much they're booking based on that. Now, let's just say that out of 400 calls, they're missing 40% of those after hours because they're using a third-party call center or an answering service. They are using voicemail. So they're just going to lose a bunch of people just because of those things, because there's a delay between what the customer can get in their service and when they actually call because of those third-party mechanisms. Now, during the day at an HVAC company, the average booking rate is about 61% of the incoming calls that turn into actual booked jobs, okay? That's because you have an employee there that has access to the CRM, the questions can get answered, and there's a live way that this customer can be dealt with by a human to get put into an actual appointment and a booked job. But after hours, that doesn't happen because a lot of HVAC companies are using voicemail. They're using third-party call centers. They don't have access to the CRM or an off-seas call center or answering service to do that. So there's a lot that gets lost there. So let's just say, for the sake of this demonstration, company's getting 1,010 calls. That means 404 of them are after hours because that's 40% of calls that come in total. So after hours calls, if they're getting 404 and they're capturing 60%, so they're missing 40% of those, they're capturing 60%. That means that they're capturing 242 calls. They're actually answering 242 calls that have the potential to be booked. Now, the average industry standard rate for after hours booking is 21%. 61% during the day. Remember all of those factors: employee, access to CRM, business is open, can book now, after hours, call center, third party, answering service, voicemail, can't book. Booking rate goes way, way down by 40% to 21% at the baseline. So that means if you're capturing 242 of those 400 calls and you're booking 21% of them, you're booking 51 jobs out of those total 404 calls that are coming in each every month if you get 1,000 total calls, okay? That means that you're also missing 162 calls because you're only capturing 60%. Now, if you took that 51 jobs that are booked times the average industry ticket size for service and repair at 500, now this doesn't account for system installations and bigger, higher profit services, we're looking at $25,500 in revenue that are generated from those 51 jobs at $500 a piece. Now, keep in mind, again, because we missed 162 calls here, if we still had the same 21% booking rate and we captured those calls, we would actually have 34 bookings that we would have gotten here at $500 a piece, that means that we would have been 17,000 higher on our revenue number. And I'll show you what that actually looks like in a minute. But it's key here because I want them to see the distinction in the tool when I go through this presentation. So that means current annual value is $306,000 if you're capturing those 242 calls, booking 21% of them, which is 51 jobs per month on average, goes up or down, right? But the average is that. That means that they're making $306,000 per year. But if they were to capture those other 34 missed bookings per month, they would have another $204,000 in revenue. Now, here's where this gets fun, okay? So the way I built this calculator is now let's look at if we were to answer every single call and have the ability to book those people into the calendar. So let's turn on this switch here. I just flip a switch and now all the numbers change, okay? So now we had 404 calls, same beginning number of calls, but we're capturing 100% of them, which means that we're answering 404 calls with the possibility to book them into a job. We're not losing any, okay? If we keep this booking rate the same at 21%, that means we're now at 85 booked jobs instead of 51, which means we just, by answering all the phones, add 34 jobs per month to that top line revenue, okay? At $500 a piece, that means that we're making $42,500 a month instead of $25,500 a month, or we're adding $17,000 a month in revenue. And the annual revenue goes up to $510,000 from $306,000. So we add $204,000 in revenue. Already great changes, already showing the problem of just not answering all the calls in a really impactful way, showing the difference in the revenue based on the numbers of just answering all the calls. Now it gets better though, because what if we could, by answering all of those calls, also increase this booking rate here just by 10%. Let's just say really nominally, we could get 31% of those jobs booked instead of 21. Well, I've got another switch. So we turn that on and we got a slider down here to adjust the percentage. Let's bring it up to 31, which is 10% more than what we started with, which is 21, okay? Now let's look at the numbers now. So 404 calls booked, 404 calls made, 404 calls answered. We got 31% are booked now, so 125 compared to if we were not answering all those calls and we had only a 21% booking rate, we would only have 51. So with those two changes, 10% increase in booking rate and answering every single call, we now have 74 additional jobs added per month. Right there, that's the sale, okay? That right there is enough to impact an owner to be like, damn, what are we doing wrong? Okay, so we've got 125 jobs now booking at $500 a piece, $62,500 instead of the original $25,500. That's a $37,000 per month increase by answering all the calls and by increasing that booking rate by 10% across the board for those after hours calls only. That means that we're adding $444,000 in annual revenue, and we're going up from $306,000 in the first scenario to $750,000 total in annual. Okay? Really, really impactful presentation. Now, I built this tool in a way so that I can just go through, I can flip these switches on, and I can actually show these changes as we institute these new changes to their system by using voice AI agents, where they will answer every single call. They have the ability to book those jobs in the calendar right now, 2 a.m., 11 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 a.m. before the office opens, or 6 a.m. We can book all those jobs. And then down here, we have a lifetime value number, right? Because this lifetime value number, $15,340, is what an average HVAC customer is worth. You might do maintenance at first, but if you keep that customer, most likely you're going to get about $15,000 in total annual lifetime value out of that customer over the next 5, 10 years, or whatever it is that you've been doing business with them, if you can keep them. So at the first level, if we turn off these switches, if we just at the first level, we had $782,000 in lifetime value being added to the business on a monthly basis by capturing 51 jobs, okay? Because again, each customer is worth $15,340. So that gives us $782,000 in total lifetime revenue we're adding to the business per month. That means over the lifetime, the annual, that means that we'd be adding $9 million to the business over that term of a year at that level. Now, if we captured every single call and answered every call, now we take that up to $1,303,000 from $782,000. So that's almost effectively doubling the amount of lifetime value that is generated per month. And that's, again, over the long term based on what these customers are worth, because now we're doing 85 jobs instead of 51 jobs. And then that projected annual LTV, meaning that how much lifetime value you bring into the business over a year, goes from $9 million to $15 million. Now, if we increase that booking rate by 10%, now we're up to 1.9 million that we're bringing in total lifetime value to the business in the long term. And over a year, 23 million from the original 9 million. We've more than doubled it by those two things, answering every call and upping the booking rate on the after hours only by 10%. Okay. So really impactful numbers. And then here at the bottom of this, for some reason it's hiccuping. If you go down to the bottom here, this is a form now that I can have submitted. And this only shows up once we've switched these on. So this can also be used as a lead generation tool, right? So they click this button and then they're going to fill this out. It's going to send me a lead. It's going to tell me all the information of what they put into this form. And now I'm going to have a full lead that tells me exactly their company, annual revenue, how many trucks they're running, how many locations they have, and their current solution, whether it's after hours, voicemail, or call center or answering service, and as well as how many calls they're getting per month and how much revenue they're generating based on all of those numbers. So I have a really full idea of who this lead is when I actually call them and talk to them to get them into a demo. So this is something I built with AI. I built this calculator. I built this website. And it's really, really impactful to have the ability to build tools that you can use in your sales presentation, right? A calculator like this is very, very custom. And I couldn't have ideated this in my mind of like, wow, I want something to present this, right? Because usually you're presenting on a slide deck or something like that. But having the ability to make this both a lead generation tool on my website. So if someone comes here and goes to the calculator and fills all this out, and then they click this Get My Custom Recovery Plan, they fill this out, then that means they're going to have a conversation with me and I'm going to go through that with them and I'm going to tell them how we're going to fix that problem and add that revenue to them. Or I can do this in a presentation myself. I can go through this numbers on their call or on a video with them based on their own numbers and show them exactly how much money they're missing and show them the progression out of that problem into a better solution in future. Using this tool and to present in this way is really, really powerful. Right? It's one of the most powerful ways you can present. And you notice that I haven't talked about AI at all, right? The idea here is to lead with the problem, fix the problem, show them the better future, and then tell them how we're going to do it. That's the most important part, is that you got to tell them that you know their problem. They got to understand and that you're authoritative and that you understand their problem better than they do and can show them the details of the problem that they're experiencing so they can really feel the pain of it. And then once they feel that pain, they're going to look to you for the solution. So this is a tool that I built. If you have any questions about it or you want something done for your own website or your own business like this, like a lead generation tool, we can totally build that for you if you want to. So let me know if you have any questions about this or if this would be interesting to you. It was really fun to build. And I love thinking this way and helping business owners think this way of how we can actually turn more of their customers into really paying customers for them that actually understand the problem and are really easy to work with, because this sells the service in itself. Right? You helping them understand their problem when they didn't see it before, that already makes the sale come pretty much like closed before you even have the conversation. And so that's one of the powers of having the ability to build the kind of tool that you need to give the information in a way that actually helps somebody really see their problem and the magnitude and the painful nature of that problem in a way that's realistic to them, and then can actually show them a way out of it. So let me know if you have any questions, or if this would be interesting to you to build for your business. We can totally have a consultation around what kind of a lead flow you need and what type of customers you have. And we could spin up something like this that's a sort of survey-based, calculator type-based tool that can really help you to generate a lot of leads that are really ready to talk to you about your services and want to buy what you have to offer simply because you help them see the problem better than anyone else could.